Alright everyone, this wasn't going to be the main video of the day because of course this story came out, while I was actually in bed. But Trump is now going to command the declassification of everything pertinent to the more Russia bullshit that went on. In other words, the the many moons long witch hunt of Donald Trump by the legacy media, by the rogue FBI agents, by Comey and all of these others that basically took advantage of a severe lapse in the protections of the Fourth Amendment, and I would argue definitely election integrity, by the outgoing Obama admin and by sympathetics within several intel agencies, all of which did not want Trump to win. What I've said all along is it looks like at the higher levels things were just systemically botched by design, because the whole idea behind the FISA system, essentially what you've got is you've got a situation where even lower level individuals who they haven't been through the hoops and hurdles to prevent corruption, not that they tend to work anyway, can escalate things up to a higher level, potentially hiding pertinent information and take advantage of the fact that the FISA courts are a rubber stamping edifice. And as long as the case on paper looks good, if it looks juicy, it'll get rubber stamped and it'll get signed off on. Indeed, it was by Rosenstein and others, and an investigation proceeded. And the thing is, the reason why you've had multiple people who have escaped charges pertinent to the investigation's proceedings is that the investigation in many cases overstretched to the point where no reasonable argument could be made that it should have been extended that far in the first place. You never had any evidence initially of Russian collusion by anyone in the Trump admin, in the Trump campaign. You still don't have any. There was literally nothing there. Basically what it boiled down to in their findings was that some Russian troll farms that might have had Kremlin ties got involved with buying Facebook ads. Beyond that, the biggest thing that they found, and this is to their credit, this is how they recoup some degree of dignity, I suppose, is that Paul Manafort, many moons prior, long before he was Trump's campaign manager, long before Trump was even interested in the possibility of politics, we're talking the mid-Bush era, was laundering money with the Ukrainian group. Which, by the way, they've dropped like a hot potato as a story anyway. They never mentioned that anymore because every time someone hears Ukraine, they think of Burisma. They think of Hunter Biden. You know, the son that Biden doesn't want to talk about and always projects as though is the one being mentioned and instead of Beau Biden, which is always very interesting to see how his last, I believe, living child is basically the black sheep of the family. I suppose Biden sort of keeps him hidden as a dirty secret. You know, the whole fucking his dead brother's wife, then cheating on her with a stripper, getting the stripper pregnant while on crack. I don't think that that's very great optics for the president. You know, he's obviously not in control of his family at that point. At least Beau Biden appears to have been an upstanding individual. It's too bad that he got fucked by the Bush munitions, depleted uranium. But here's my analysis of this, because it's clear that Trump is angling for an October surprise with this. The DOJ is going to have a talk. I think that's happening in, 5 hours or something here, ish. Again, time zones apply. I am in Amsterdam, so it's a little bit different. By the way, it's so dreary, and this time of year, the sun goes away so early and takes so long to come out. I'm like, I have a lamp over here in order to have this thing not do right light. Here's the problem. Here's the problem with this being anything more than a floozy, or maybe a mild doozy. I don't expect this to be a true full-on October surprise that swings the election. I could be wrong. It could be that there's something goddamn explosive in the D-class, and that when Barr and all these others come out to give this press conference, it's going to be absolute chaos, and the media won't be able to ignore it. But by and large, what we've seen is even significant news is simply ignored by the legacy media if it happens not to be good for the Democratic Party. They've been doing this for a number of years. So you can have a major scandal, it'll get no play at all. Trump, meanwhile, coughs, and it becomes front-page news. Part of this isn't even necessarily related to their corruption. Part of this is related to the fact that Trump is so all-encompassingly exciting for the public that they can't help it. They have to bump legitimate news down in the cycle to make room for what Trump ate today. That being said, I expect that if it is anything shy of A++ grade scandal, if this isn't the next Watergate, do you really think that it's going to change any minds? Do you think that CNN, even if they cover it, is going to cover it fairly? And meanwhile, Fox, that will cover it, 99% of their fans are going to vote for Trump anyway. They've already made up their mind. Half of them have probably already filed a fucking mail-in ballot. It's not going to change any independent minds, because the independent voters that are going to watch online commentary, trust me, if they haven't been swayed by now, they're going to be staying at home, by and large, not excited. This is an attempt by Trump to create essentially an artificial October surprise. Now, he's mentioning Clinton's email server in the scope of this. There is speculation maybe that there's, some more substantial evidence that she committed a felony, but we already know that. Comey told us as much. Yeah, she violated various laws and various rules regarding data retention and storage, but no reasonable person would charge her. No reasonable person would charge her because they know that she'd have him killed. That's the only reason. Comey was so nervous that day. He did us a solid. He technically tilted the election. If you look at last-minute voting in some states, it's a week out from the election. He basically warned the American people, hey, I should probably charge her, and I would charge any of you if you did it, but I'm not going to charge her because I was told not to by the Department of Justice. Number one, I value life. Number two, and boy, oh boy, I'm going to write a lucrative book. And so he just basically takes his toys and goes home. So I don't expect this to be a true October surprise, and we've seen it before. We've seen before instances where you either have Trump or anyone else in politics, it can be a Democrat or a Republican. They'll say, well, we've got groundbreaking, earth-shattering news, like the Gravel Institute talking there about, oh, well, we've got transcripts of Trump's next speech. Oh, trust me, we've got more. And some of these people leaking stuff from the White House. And it never matters. It never affects Trump's polling. It never affects the trajectory of the election. People don't have the time to care. They're only capable of reading the first paragraph of the news story anyway. Half the people that started watching this video statistically have already conked out. They're not even hearing what I'm saying. They've turned it off, or they're doing something else. They're just listening to it on the fucking phone. By the way, you need to pay more attention. I should do something where randomly in the video I say like a word and you have to say a response. They do that in church sometimes because they're always boring, because they're ranting about the same thing every Sunday, and it's really like kind of a weird shtick, but I don't know. I'll do that sometime just as a joke, so you better be paying attention to my clanking. The idea, though, that this is going to be different from every other time. Oh my God, there's going to be UFO declassification, and it's, the same grainy videos we've seen 1,000 times before that had been leaked, 10 fucking years ago. Oh my God, Comey's going to come out with his statement on the email server, and I correctly predicted at the time, well, yeah, of course there was wrongdoing. He's not going to get charged. He's going to tell you as much. It's nothing happened. Nobody cares. People have, by and large, if they're political at all, if they're inclined to vote in the election, they've already made up their minds. This is why I keep predicting Trump will win, because his fans are actually enthusiastic. Not because there's more of them, because they're more likely to actually go vote. Ballot harvesting aside, which we know is happening. By the way, did you see Elon Omar trying to crucify Tulsi Gabbard the other day? Because that dude who allegedly was harvesting hundreds of ballots in her district, I guess that he claims, oh, well, yeah, I was offered $10,000 to say these things. Trust me, that's a deflection. I don't believe it even remotely, and Tulsi Gabbard would be crazy to apologize. Just have law enforcement look into it, into the allegations. Considering the fact it would be so easy, I guarantee it's happening. Yeah, the Project Veritas offered somebody 5 figures to lie on tape, knowing full well that they were a Democratic operative who would potentially rat them out. Sure. By the way, if you're willing to take $10,000 to say weird shit on camera, you're probably harvesting the ballots anyway, so it'd be very funny if that were the case. It'd be funny if he were telling the truth but a lie at the same time, by default. Imagine that. Oh yeah, I was harvesting ballots, but they never saw me do it, so I'm just going to take their fucking money and run. That'd be fun. I bet Elon Omar phone called the guy. I bet her or one of her top-level staff got in touch with him right quick when they realized how big a scandal it was potentially. But no, the declassification... There is a high degree of chance, not certainty, a high degree of chance it'll mean nothing. Trump fans will say, oh my God, we've got disclosure, massive scandal. Look, the Chinese were trying to influence the election and stuff, which happened and is still happening. Hillary lied and people died. Hillary broke the law. She should have been charged. Here's an internal document showing that they agreed she should be charged, but then he met with Loretta Lynch or whatever. You'll probably see that stuff, but who cares? Trump fans will play it up. Dem fans will say it's a distraction. It's a phony scandal. It's nothing we haven't heard before. I don't trust William Barr to provide me properly sourced material. This is Trump's way of trying to steal the election for Putin. And it'll be all the same shit fuck that it's been for years and years because of the extreme echo chamber the extreme partisanship of the current political climate, and because of the corruption of the legacy media. And the football team's stupid mentality of the average voter precludes them from believing or disbelieving in contrast to what they already believe. So if they're for Trump, they're not going to be, if it's pointed out that it is a nothing burger, let's say that it is nothing, which is always at least a vague possibility too, that this is just playing things up to hype up the voter base. They're not going to believe it. They'll go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and there'll be 1,000 4chan threads about how wonderful the news is and how Clinton should have been in a federal prison by now. Democrats, even if they could be faced with a situation, and this is possible, they could be faced with this disclosure, that there's evidence of systemic intel agency corruption on behalf of a foreign entity. It did involve a foreign agent, Christopher Steele, of course, the initial botch dossier that he basically bounced around by using Yahoo News, among other sites, and then taking snippets of the articles he himself had submitted as evidence because they came from that reporting and forwarding. I would think that the fact that a foreign intel agent from the UK managed to insert this document into our intel agencies itself, beyond the political ramifications, would raise a number of concerns, especially if it made it all the way to the deputy AG at the time and got signed off on, Rosenstein. And managed to trigger a multi-year, multi-million-dollar investigation that obstructed our government, specifically at the executive level. I would think it raises grave concerns. But if you're a Democrat, it doesn't matter. Oh yeah, foreign intel interfered in our electoral process. Yeah, Chinese agents wanted to use the specter of Russian propaganda to try to influence us by getting Hillary Clinton elected, because the Clintons are in the pocket of Beijing, just like Biden is largely. It wouldn't matter. And by the way, even if you stuck them with incontrovertible evidence, let's say you had a secret wire recording by a Secret Service agent of Bill Clinton on the tarmac with Loretta Lynch, explicitly talking about the election, contravening everything Hillary said, contravening everything Comey said, contravening all of these people. Obama. Let's say Obama himself is provably implicated in the proceedings as having not only known but given his blessing to essentially lying to the American public for years about Russian influence in our election. Orange man bad, though. Trump is Hitler. So ergo, these people are all good. They must have had a good reason. It's not that bad. Trump has killed 200,000 people. That's exactly what you'll hear. Even if this is A+ grade, it's not going to change most of the Democrats' minds. Could affect independent voters. It could definitely be an October surprise. I just don't think that it's likely, no matter how much they play it up. National security meeting, and by the way, impromptu national security meeting by DOJ and so forth. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's anything substantial at all. It could just be a basic announcement. Well, yeah, Trump has ordered us to declass, so over the next weeks you'll get some info, or next year we'll be able to get you info or something. It's just as likely as not that it's a total nothing burger. I hate to tell the LARPers and the perpetually outraged crew and the true, honest to goodness MAGA hat lovers, I hate to tell you it's not likely. It's going to be probably just like the Comey email announcement was many years ago, and you're not really going to get much out of it. That's about all. Peace out.